The U.S. Navy SEAL who says he shot and killed Osama bin Laden taken major heat this week for breaking his silence. Rob O'Neill decided to speak exclusively to Fox News for a special that airs tomorrow night and Wednesday night. But many of his superiors say he had no right to go public. Well, Howard Watson is a former Navy SEAL who also wrote a book about his experience. He joins us alongside his wife, Debbie, live in our studio today. All right, good morning to both of you.
Morning, Steve.
Now, Howard, you've never met Rob O'Neill.
No, I've never met him.
But you're a former Navy SEAL. What do you think about the fact that he has decided now, since this was one of the greatest military operations of our generation, he would like to reveal himself and tell the story about what really happened? Do you have a problem with that?
I have absolutely no problem with that. As a matter of fact, if Rob were a general or an admiral or a secretary of defense, he wouldn't be under pressure or any type of heat right now. As a matter of fact, Steve, my thoughts are this comes down to First Amendment rights, which is freedom of speech. He hasn't given up any classified information. I mean, the administration did that after the raid.
They've made movies. People have written books. What's left?
Arguably springboarded this president into a second term. So for the actual shooter to come forward, if it's going to help closure for the victims, if it's going to get something off his chest, like I said, First Amendment rights, nobody that I know of has more of a right to that than this man.
So you got no problem. You'll be watching tomorrow night and on Wednesday night.
Absolutely. And the only concern I do have, of course, is security. So if Rob is watching this, give me a call. I'll come man up with you.
All right. Now, you're joining us today with your wife, Debbie. You've got a brand new book out called The Last Rescue, How Faith and Love Saved a Navy SEAL Sniper. When you came back from being a Navy SEAL, what happened to your life?
Well, I left SEAL Team 6 after being wounded in the Battle of Mogadishu, which later became known as Black Hawk Down.
Of course.
Shot up 3 times there, came back and found out after the SEAL Team I had nothing. I drank heavily. I couldn't keep a relationship, bounced from job to job, because our military, even now, does a poor job of helping military people reassimilate back into society, which is why our suicide rate is through the roof right now. So this book, The Last Rescue, goes and shows everybody my journey back to normalcy, if you will.
Because, Debbie, for a while, his best friend was Jack Daniels.
It was. And I met him after that point. He had some friends that came along before me that got him out of that habit. But still, when I met him, he was still floundering from job to job and really didn't have an identity outside of the SEAL team. And so when we met and we started dating and we got married, it took about a year for me to realize that he just did not have an identity other than Howard Watson, Navy SEAL. So we just worked to, get past that and build one that he could be as passionate about as he was being a SEAL.
Because back then, people didn't know as much about PTSD and the problems that all of our men and women have. Many of them do when they come back.
That's right. I suffered from survivor's guilt, and I didn't even know what that was for the 5 years I got back. I didn't know what was wrong with me.
Right.
Well, read all about it. The brand new book out this week, The Last Rescue. Howard Watson and Debbie, thank you very much for joining us today. And thank you very much for your service, sir.
Thanks.
All right.